So what I've learned about BJJ, my name is Shaq, and I started out training BJJ, and I want to explain you everything that I've learned in a recent month that I'm practicing it. So basically, you have a BJJ, you have several belts. You start from white belt, then you accelerate to blue, then to purple, then to brown, and then to black belt. To achieve black belt, this is the highest level of mastery. It takes you like from 5 to 10 years. It depends on you and how much you train and your capabilities. And then, as a beginner, I started out, and as a beginner, you lose your ego. Basically, what that means is you go into training, and usually in training, you do some sort of drills, some basic drill fundamentals. You don't understand it right now, but and as you go, and then you always go to spar. This is like lightly most of the time. You roll with other people and stuff. And as a beginner, when you start out, you always get tapped and get forced into mount positions or domination position. So you always get dominated and tapped, and you always tap out. So, and this is really it basically it destroys you and it destroys your ego. And a lot of people quit because they can't handle they can't handle the pressure. Because, for example, I describe myself and how I perceived it. I am a 26-year-old, very strong male. I would consider myself as stronger than the average person. I'm very athletic, pretty jacked. I'm skinny but pretty jacked, and I always worked on constructions. I did sports my whole life, and I'm pretty tall. I'm like 6 feet something, and I mean, I go out and I roll with someone. I see this midget little guy, basically a little guy. He's weaker than me. He is shorter than me and he's lighter than me. And he's not as tough as me, but I tap out of, he makes me tap out. And so fast, he switches the positions and moves around me so quickly and put me in uncomfortable position that I tap. And I look at this guy, and man, you start to get angry because your imagination can't comprehend what happened, because you can't believe that this guy, as you're looking at this, it could be a nerd, it could be a geek or some sort of it, and you look at this guy and you think, what the fuck did just happened? This is because they applied positioning and technique, and because you have no knowledge of all those submissions and positions, so that they force you in it and drag you with the technique and with the movements, and you will always tap out. And it destroys your ego, especially when you're tall, especially when are confident, when you are strong, and you've built through all your achievements through life, you built some sort of an ego. Man, try jiu-jitsu and watch it, see it destroyed. Especially the guys like Bradley Martin, those big bodybuilders. Man, I don't know even how they feel, because in comparison to them, I am nothing, and then my ego got crushed, but they have much bigger egos. I don't know how they handle it. So, but it also it it brings you back to the ground. And what is really important, it also like it makes you calm. It makes you accept reality, because when you accepted reality, you don't fight against it anymore. You're still competitive, but like, for example, I was training every day, twice a day, and I signed myself off of 2 gyms because I wanted to be the best. I wanted to tap everyone out. I wanted to, and also in striking, do Thai boxing, kickboxing. I wanted to that I wanted that this never happened again. But because that happened to me, I accepted reality, and I accept that there are and will always be people that can tap me in the world, and that will tap me, even if even in 5 years I am the world champion in jiu-jitsu or MMA or whatever. Even that, there are people in part of the world who will tap me, who will knock me. And coming to terms with that, to your ego, that you are not the best and that you are defeatable and that you will be defeated every day, especially when you practice, it it gives it calms you down. It somehow soothes your soul, because your soul always wanted to fight, to go against it, but it's a concept that is hurting you. And when you let go of that ego, you're much better. And what I also learned is, this is the first thing that I learned, is like, basically for me, this also comes for ego. I started out, I'm a white belt, but for me it's important, even if I'm black belt, even if I'm purple, brown or black belt, I don't care. If I tap white belt, if I tap blue belt, if I tap brown or purple, when white belt taps me out and I'm black belt, maybe there is a little bit hurt, but I don't care. Just because I am black belt doesn't mean, because a lot of people are blue belt or purple belt and they are scared to go against white belt or go against other person who are who have lower belts, because they imagine in themselves that they are not allowed to lose against lower belts. And this is the biggest bullshit that I've ever heard. Because just because you have a blue belt and I have a white belt doesn't mean that I can tap you out. Because when I tap you out and I'm white belt and you are blue belt and I tap you out, it's not that I deserve a blue belt, because my potential could be maybe bigger. And the trainer, the expert, should always look at you and think, what is your potential? And then adjust your potential according to the belts. And not because your potential is this and the other person potential is this, but he has blue belt, so you are exceeded his potential and now he has to give you blue belt. This is stupid bullshit. This is not how it works, man. In BJJ, this is also what I've learned very quickly. This is what I've learned, and because I started out so early, I took myself this book, and basically it's the big book of Jiu-Jitsu by Ribeiro. Saulo Ribeiro. I have it in German right now, but I can really recommend it. It has a lot of positions, basics, and also like for especially it is sorted out in belts, like white belt, blue belt, and stuff. So at the beginning, the first few pieces is like white belt material. Then you have like blue belt, purple belt, and brown, black belt. The problem with pictures that I that I'm aware about is because this book has great picture and great illustrations. You will comprehend it. It will make sense to you. But I prefer videos than pictures, because in videos you see every sequence, you can hold it, and you see really different perspectives. Especially when you look the material of John Denner, of BJJ Fanatics, of Lachlan Giles, or other professionals in this game, because you can see all the angles. And with pictures it's a little bit difficult, because they have tons of pictures, but to even see every angle, that would be 1,000 pictures for one setup, for one technique, for one position, and it would be too much. So I prefer videos than pictures, but I can recommend this book, especially when you have the desire to acquire something that is about jiu-jitsu, because you just started. And another one that I can teach to everyone that started jiu-jitsu right now is, try to be calm and try to take it easy. And don't go with strength, because a lot of time I see I didn't saw it, but I've heard of a lot of incidents where people started BJJ. An 18-year-old guy, fully jacked guy, strong dude, and he has his ego. He comes there, he basically just comes to reduce his energy, and he trains with them. He doesn't know about anything, but he goes full in and he crushes it, and he tries to do something and go full in. First of all, you just get tapped out, and you get submitted, and you get dominated. No matter where you are, who you are, if you have no practicing, you get fucked. So don't try to do it, because it is just dangerous. You can hurt yourself very fast, and then you learn nothing, because you can't go to training anymore. You can hurt everyone else around you, and there is no room for improvement, because your moves are way too fast. You are way too tensed up. You are not loosened. Imagine, it's like the same philosophy. Imagine what I can give for perspective. So imagine you're at a train station and you're watching a train, and then on the train is a big poster with a big scripture, and maybe on the scripture it says BJJ fanatics. When the train is driving too fast and with high acceleration, you can't read the scripture. But when the train is slowly and not that fast, you can read the scripture very, very well, and you can comprehend. This is also with BJJ. When you are too tight, when you are too stiff, when you just go in with force and you want to kill somebody, but you have no experiences at all, and you are drilling moves, but you are walking so fast and you are doing the concept so fast that you do tons of mistakes and don't comprehend anything. This is the same concept. It makes no sense. Be slow, be calm, be loosened, and have zero ego. Let yourself tap after, tap more than you can tap. Don't be that guy that will force themselves into submission and try to fight it off until they can't and tap in the last minute, because you want to continue training every day. And the faster you tap, the better, because you don't get injured, you don't are stiff and stuff like that, and you can continue the next day again. This is another thing. What I also started to do is, like, I am in a very good gym. It's called the BJJ Lab in Zurich, and basically they have a website and they have different programs. They have a fundamental course. I started the fundamentals. It goes 5 weeks and it teaches you only about the fundamentals. And they also give you, like, their website that they have with the videographic material. So I have the courses and I can go inside the fundamental course and apply and watch every submission and techniques, positioning, everything basic. And what I do then is, like, I go with my iPhone, I go to my notes. I have different, and I make a note of BJJ fundamentals. And then there I make pictures, pull the pictures in, and sometimes I give description what to do and stuff. So for every basic move that happened and everything that we go throughout our course, I make notes and I structure them, so I can go back and always relook those techniques, and this will accelerate me further and faster than anybody else. So this I can highly recommend to you, that you do the same thing. And what I learned is that Jiu-Jitsu is mostly about technique, so that basically geeks who are weaker, slimmer, and smaller than you, make you tap out because of technique. But once we acquire this technique, and we will acquire that technique, it depends on also strength and mass. So be a jiu-jitsu, basically to be a strong player, there are three deciding factors: technique that you have, the strength that you have, and the mass, your weight. So if you have high weight, if you have high muscle mass, like you are heavyweight, really strong, really big muscles, and you have a crazy technique, and the height maybe more or less, then you destroy everyone. This is also the reason why they have weight classes, because weight classes still matters, but technique against another without technique doesn't matter how big you are. And then other resources that you have, I mean, I saw you have a lot of resources. You can watch I watched the first that I watched is the 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu of Eddie Bravo. You can look him up in Google. I think on YouTube, Flow Grappling released Eddie Bravo Part 1 and Part 2, and I think maybe Part 3, I'm not sure. But watch those documentaries, because if you're hooked on Jiu-Jitsu, it is addictive. Once I saw it, and I saw people how they use the positions and submission and put other people in holds, I was instantly hooked. And to watch the documentary of Eddie Bravo, what he created, especially when you watch the UFC, and you always ask yourself, because you have other martial art background, and you ask yourself how applicable is BJJ on the street or in mixed martial arts and stuff. Watch Eddie Bravo's documentary and what he created in the 10 Planet Jiu-Jitsu. It will blow your mind. And there are thousands of other things that I learned, but right now it's enough for this video, otherwise it would be too long. So my name is Shaq, and I will post more videos on this course, and I will talk about my journey in BJJ. Man, it was nice to meet you, and I see you guys.